And then when you got here, you started your education, and then that's when you started going to counseling as well. Okay.
Yes, and I started seeking help.
Okay.
Because I still was, I felt, even though it was like fast forward 8 years from the 16-year-old that was like, I can't anymore. I'm done. I don't see what is the point of going on. And so 8 years later, I was still asking the same questions, like, what's the point? What is going on? So those conversations are so profound, and I keep doing work around those lines, so it's spiritual. And when I listen to people that are that have the unfortunate situation of somebody having committed suicide, and I listen to them, everybody's asking that question.
Right. Yeah. Well, and there's, it just helps, I think, in my opinion, to take one step to get help. It may not be the right path that actually takes you to where you need to be to get to where you are today, but you're like, I'm going to counseling. Did it immediately take you exactly where you need to be? No, but you kept going and you kept going and you kept finding different paths. And it's working on it daily. And I mean, just as you said, it should be in our education. It should actually be in a process that kids start to learn at a young age, that we all start to learn to put our mental health first, because when we do, it's much easier than to put in working out, eating healthy. When your mind's right, it helps facilitate everything else in the energies and everything else in your body. And there's just so many different ways of doing that now. There's really tons of resources. Some people do believe in talk therapy. Some people believe in equine. Some people believe in acupuncture. Some people believe in meditation. Whatever helps you,
I still have to remind myself every day that I need to love myself. So I don't know if I've gotten there. Yeah. But at least I remind myself every day.
Yes. Being aware.
I was like, okay, I'm my best friend, right? That kind of thing. Yeah. And then I go to work and it's like, oh my God, dysfunctional city, but that's okay. I think it starts when, from kindergarten to start observing behaviors that are ostracizing a child, or also already somebody has mental proclivities that then by being in groups that are unhealthy just doesn't help them. And so that conversation, if it would have started earlier, then by the time I probably would have never had that problem, or gotten to a point like I'm done. That's it. No más, I'm done. I would, but instead nobody talks about it. Everybody's ashamed about it. And I still feel that way about, talking about suicide. It takes people a long time to understand that that stuff happens, and then it starts happening to you. Like, let's talk about suicide.
So anytime we start talking about suicide, people want to run, because it is hard to talk about. It's every time I'm talking with someone about it, it doesn't get any easier, but we cannot turn our backs on the one thing that the numbers are not going down on. They are going up. And it is heartbreaking to hear daily how people are taking their lives. And so, yes, it's uncomfortable, but that doesn't mean you turn your back on it. And you never know when it can happen to you. And I hate to say that, but just like you're talking about, your parents would never dream that it would have been you. And I hear that from so many people.
Yes.
It's very unexpected. Yes. And that alone is heartbreaking. So you moved to Austin, started a new life here. What does that look like now? Can you tell us what you, if you're still involved? I know that you talked about there is a suicide awareness group that you're involved in, and also what you do now personally. to keep up with your daily mental loving routine or whatever you want to call it. I don't even know what to call it. What would you like to call it?
Let's give it a name.
Let's
the
give
loving
it a name.
routine.
Yeah, your daily loving routine. And professionally, like, what do you do?
It's very interesting that that what I'm like envisioning for it. I feel communication is the biggest piece that we can start with. At least, like you're asking me to talk about it, so. Speaking about it is a good thing. Also making sure that it doesn't become a stigma, that suicide is not like, oh, those people. Suicide is like everybody. We're talking about Anthony Bourdain. I was thinking about so many people that looked like they were on top of the world. And no, mental health, like you said, is everywhere. It's for everybody. And so it should be like an open space for everybody to feel able to communicate and in a healthy way. And that needs, of course, to start in schools with children and all that. I feel like we are not able to communicate, and then we got this COVID situation, and it's been just exploded. And so, and then of course there's the military, which is very understandable what's going on there. That is also very, very difficult. And we see those in our group as well. And we talk about, how to heal, but we're still healing in isolation, and we're still healing in little pieces, and we're just not, like AFSPA, the Association for Prevention of Suicide, they want it out. They want it out for everybody to know that it's absolutely okay to not be feeling your best and still be accepted. I've been working also with, part of what I do, communities in schools. Communities in schools have brought socio-emotional language to the classroom to keep children working in circles, to try to avoid violence in schools and all these other problems that we have, because when you're brewing anger and you're alone and you're ostracized, then there's that. So if we start a class with a circle, and so I've seen it work in classes. And it's all a matter of talking about socio-emotional language and communicating that we start with the heart. It's great to go to school and learn math, but if you can't survive your adolescence, what can calculus do for you? I know Lalo has the answer, but that's part 2. Calculus can help you figure out equations and stuff like that, but really your feelings and all that, when it's exploding during an adolescence, it's really important to be there and to be present, and to not only be present, but to provide the tools. You mentioned a bunch of them, but I'll start with communication, socio-emotional language in the classroom, and then with that, meditation, anything else that opens that flow of ease and tranquility and peace. And then from there, yes, there's going to be people that do have a neurochemical imbalances, like Mauricio did. He had that. He was so brilliant that everybody thought he was on top of the world. Another one. You're not what you have. Trust me, everybody who has died knows that really well. You don't take anything with you. What do you take? What do you take when you die? It's only love. Yeah, that's it. Everything that you did for love, with love, in love. It's that frequency, it's that vibration, that's where it is. And that's what you take.
Yeah, that's so true.
And there's nothing else. And so if you are treated poorly in social groups, if you're put away, if you're treated like that, and then on top is like, oh God, you got a mental health problem, you're weird, It doesn't help anybody.
No, it doesn't.
Nobody.
Can you tell me the groups that you're a part of again, so our audience knows maybe where if they've had somebody take their life, or if they're concerned, is the organization that you're a part of, and just any other resources that you can recommend?
So we have Survivors of Suicide is a group for people who have actually survived somebody who committed suicide. So that's one of the groups that we work with. The American Association for Prevention of Suicide, FSP, that's another level. The SOS, which is Survivors of Suicide, is part of the FSP. And but I also work on my own with my own work, which is based on Qigong movement, which I have been doing for 20 years now. And I coach some people in how to work with their energy and see themselves as more than just the body and all that. And
I love that.
do a lot of energy codes and energy work. And so I do that on my own, and I call that flow.
And that's here in Austin?
Mm-hmm. But it's still, I still work full time, so that's my on the side. But yeah, I will.
But if people are interested in it,
if they're interested in that, they can contact me.
Okay.
El Tule Institute is called El Tule Institute. www.eltuleinstitute.org. That you can find me there. Also, so that's for Qigong, and that's for energy work, and that's just for peace. And I do a lot of work with learning from Joe Dispenza. I don't know if you've heard of him.
I have.
Learning how to breaking the habit of being yourself. But I've learned that there's a lot about getting our ego out of the way to just be present, and that's what a lot of this, yoga or Qigong or anything like that will do. Will support that, or meditation, and what that does is like it's really an art form of being more present. It's not like, oh, I get rid of Martha and Martha's gone, so I'm just sitting here and nothing's happening. No, it's like you really become the true self that you are. Martha is just kind of like a movie that is taking place right now, and then my soul and my real self, that's who I really am. So Martha is helping me be here, but Martha can be gone any minute and I will still be here. So anyway, all that is what I do to stay calm, because I do have other processes that I'm working with, like illness. My husband's ill, and so I've kind of have to learn to work with life. And that's what I was going to say. This is not about mental health. This is about life. Life is a beautiful and amazing gift that we all have. The only problem with it is that it gets complicated once we get into a society and start working in groups and become, you're this social class, you're that social class, you're black, you're white, you're this, you're that. And we start doing all that separation.
I know.
And so that's where I feel like mental health awareness could be expanded to be a way of life rather than just something that is isolated for those people that are dysfunctional.
I love that.
And so anyway, but life is gonna bring challenges.
Absolutely.
Life is gonna bring challenges, and so that's some people will just jump through them, like the Olympians that I've been watching today. It's like, just wow, they can jump everything. But some people will not, and that's okay. And that's what we all can communicate. And the person that can jump the farthest can help the one that didn't. So it's a very different vision of social emotional language, and creating that in spaces that we just haven't had that. We just haven't done that. Because our culture, again, is building always on competition, building always on separation, building on... And this Simone Biles thing has been a wonderful thing, I think, to make us all realize and take a step back and say, she's not mentally ill. She's just put under pressure that, none of us could probably survive, And so she's saying, thank you. I'm going to stand back and I'm going to take care of myself. And that's like amazing that somebody's doing that. And COVID is going to help us see how important mental health is. So I think we're at a perfect time to start talking about all of this.
I do too. Yeah.
It really is an important time to do it. For children especially. What do? I work at the University of Texas, so I see students all day, and there's also a lot of support for suicide there. I have volunteered in the weeks that are suicide prevention, suicide awareness. I have done some of that.
What do they have at UT to support
UT
that?
has a suicide awareness week.
Okay.
It has also a student support and all kinds of student supports because it's right now you got to invest in that right now.
Absolutely.
Students are feeling very isolated, feeling very the uncertainty is like you used to go to college. It's like, well, I'm going to finish. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get my, real estate, all that. I'm going to play the Monopoly game. I'm going to do all that. And I got my life, there's certainty. Right now, nobody knows
Right. I know. And here we
what's
go.
going to happen tomorrow, you know?
And here we go again with another round of uncertainty.
Yeah.
Well,
And that's a lot of pressure. Uncertainty on a young person. Uncertainty for me, who I have more past than future, it's okay. I can handle it. But somebody who has more future than past, we need to support that. We need to, I don't think it's that complicated. It's just talking about it, talking about what they're feeling, how to process that.
right. And that's what you're doing here, and that's what we're trying to do with men. Is it's just about talking about it, and the conversation does not have to be challenging. In fact, it can just be listening. How are you doing? Let's, and that's tricky too, because you don't want somebody to say, I'm fine. That's a whole other topic. I'm fine. That doesn't always mean somebody's fine, but just really, really checking in and saying, can I do something for you, or haven't heard from you in a while, and just to be there. But it just sounds like, along with, the organizations that you're a part of and the work that you're doing at UT, and then just with your Qigong and all of these other ways that you're helping others. I just really want to thank you for all your different services.
Thank you for this too.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
thank you for being here and opening up, because I'm just glad that you're still alive.
Me too.
And that you're here.
Me too.
Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I want to thank Dr. Martha Perez again for joining us, because at MEND we believe that when we break our silence, we break the stigma. And with Martha sharing her story around her suicide attempt, she is saving lives and breaking the stigma around suicide. Thank you, Martha.
Thank you.